Well, this is Nick Collier, and it's story time again. If you just like my machine shop videos, tune in on Tuesdays, because that's when I post those videos. From time to time, I post a Saturday story time. So we'll see you on Tuesday. If you like these videos, hey, join me. This is my new digs. We built this last summer. If I remember, I will pan the whole structure and give you an idea. But here's something else that I'm just beginning to work on, and I'm hoping to be able to film it. What's happened on our road, the road that leads 5 miles from our place to town, called Bloomfield Road, is these two guys who live about halfway into town set up a snail out of wood, but it's 15 feet tall, and so you can really see it from the road, and they placed it pretty much right out on the road, which kind of sparked this whole creative process for Bloomfield Road. Fairly quickly after, another person put a dragonfly out, and another person put a sphinx moth out. And you know, they were pretty good size. The dragonflies probably, I'm sorry, it's praying mantis. And the praying mantis is probably 5 feet long, and the moth is maybe 3 feet tall. So I, with my metal shop and my, tendency to go wild and crazy, ran across this the other day at a friend's house, and I asked if I could borrow it for 6 months or so. And he said, "Oh yeah, sure, go ahead." It was kind of sitting in a corner. And so I took it, and I'm going to use this as my maquette, which is the small model of a dragon. Except the nose here will be 8 feet high, and it's going to be out of steel. Now, I've spent the last 3 weekends, and I promised myself on Sundays I work on this, and I hope to start filming it soon. But so for the last 3 Sundays, I have been working on scales, these little round things here. And I've got about 200 or 300 of them, maybe enough to do this and this, but probably not the tail, especially since I want to do the tail a little longer. But at some point soon, I'm going to begin assembling all of these components. But that's not why I'm asked you here. I'm going to tell a story about what happened to me one night, one stormy night, lots of lightning, lots of snow, in the first year I lived here in Nevada County. Now, I moved up here in March of 1974, and by that midsummer I had moved out of my little bungalow in town, the one with the ghost that I told you about here a while back, and moved up high into the mountains on a hippie commune. Now it was midsummer, maybe July, August, and there was probably 40 young people staying on this 40-acre ranch. Not a ranch, but more of, just forest. And we we were involved in all kinds of things, young people things, mostly going to the river and having dinners together and, you know, just all around, just having a great time. By about August, September, October, there was still lots of stuff going on. November, it started raining, and like today, it rained for 30 days straight. I mean, downpour, the whole 30 days. I think there was like 80 inches of rain in that 1 month. And by the time halfway into that month, every one of those young people took off. Some went to Mexico, some went to LA, they all went for the sun. And now, of course, they had money to do that. I didn't have any money, and I was pretty much stuck where I was in this barn. No electricity, well, it had running water, but just very little running, one spigot that you could tap into. No flush toilet. There was an outhouse about 20 yards out into the woods away from the barn. But all summer long, we had, as a unit, we had been gathering local foods, you know, nuts and fruits and vegetables and stuff that could go through the winter. And everybody was planning on winter, but you know, when the rubber met the road, most people just took off. And I'm sitting there by myself in this barn, completely unable to really move. At one point in January or so, there was 4 feet of snow on the ground. My car was completely buried, and I was stuck, and I was 40 miles away from any civilization at all. Now, there was 3 other people, or 3 other groups of people on the property itself, which made, it was me and a couple and another couple, so there was 5 of us on the property. So I wasn't completely by myself, but I was, you know, pretty much by myself in the barn. And by the way, that's where I learned to read. Up to that point, I hadn't read a book, not one. I don't know how I made it through school without reading a book, but I did. This one particular night, it was really stormy, lots of lightning, and you know, in my room I had this big picture window, and I had my bed scooted up to the window so I could look out at the environment outside. And so there was lightning and thunder, and it was just a horrible night, you know, just, but it was pretty exciting, you know, for a young guy who was, you know, enthralled with nature. And for some reason, the wind had kicked open the front door. And I didn't find that out until the morning. So I'm sleeping in my bed, and the thunder's going, and the lightning's going, and I'm waking up from time to time, trying to ignore it. And all of a sudden I feel my cat jump up on the bed, and I'm thinking, well, you know, she's pretty scared at this point. So I just kind of let her cuddle up next to my feet, and I kind of went back to sleep. And the next strike of lightning, you know, probably 15 minutes later or something like that, it was pretty close, and it just like wham! And I wake up and I look at the window to see what's going on outside, and here at my feet, looking out the window also, is a porcupine. Now, I don't know if you live in a place where you have porcupines, but they're a fairly small animal, maybe, well, this big. 20, 30 pounds, and they have hundreds of nice long quills that they will stab you with. And, you know, people, you know, it's not a fun thing to happen. So this little porcupine is sitting at my feet looking out the window, with me looking out the window. And I was like, not sure what to do. But it didn't have any of its quills up. It was fairly calm. I'm sure it was a little upset with the thunder and lightning, but it probably felt pretty comfortable inside of the room with the fire going, by the way, and the glass between it and the elements. So I thought, well, hell, I can't get out of bed because it's going to get freaked out. I can't try to get it out of the room because it's going to get freaked out. And so I just decided, well, hell, it's an animal like a cat. It's probably comfortable where it's at. Let's let sleeping dogs lie. So I fell back asleep. And through the night, the thunder and lightning would happen, and it would be kind of curled up next to my feet. But I had porcupine dreams all night. Now I woke up in the morning and it had finally gotten out or gotten off the bed and gotten under the bed, and it probably felt a little safer down there. And so I spent the entire morning trying to coax this little critter out of my bedroom. And man, and I finally ended up getting one of those milk crates, right? And I got it under the milk crate, and then slid the milk crate slowly out to the front door and out the front door, and then it finally took off. But in the process, it shot quills all over the place. It was totally freaked out. And so, so that's the porcupine story of the century. This is Nick Collier, checking out. Oh yeah, my new digs. Let's see if we can just pull the camera and walk around a little bit. Okay, so in the last couple of years, Jason and I have been working on the gates and fences. Not exactly the most exciting thing to do, but certainly money making. And so we needed this long table, and this table here is about 17 feet long, so that we could make gates and fences on the table and then deliver them. So we decided that it was time to build a building, because it was not easy to make the gates and fences in the regular shop, because it was getting full of tools. Let's see if we can bring this down. And so we built this building off of the main front door of the shop, and you can kind of see there's the front door right there. And if you look, the building has this is the wall. Now the whole building is set because the winds come out of the northwest and go southeast. And so that corner right there is the northwest corner. Now the other thing we decided to do was to make a door, just in case we had to make some gates and fences that were longer than 17 feet, which we have had to do at different times. I'm going to open the door. And there's the building. So we've got a bunch of steel down below. The plan is to put a floor in at some point or another, and then we'll get the table up a little bit and get that steel up off the ground. But for right now, this is what we've got. And by the way, this is probably where I'm going to start building the dragon sculpture. Okay, now we're checking out.